Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Ecurious Minds. Here we are with the Mathematical Mindset book, chapter 3 and 4. And in very able hands, you will be brushed with your new knowledge. Miss Nisha and Miss Sapna, please lead us on.
Can you just give us the post slide so I can share my screen?
Please go ahead.
Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Yes. Slide.
Yes, Sapna.
Welcome everyone to Ecurious Mind. Be the change to bring the change. So we are here with Joe Holder, Mathematical Mindsets. As you all know, we are looking forward for Ecurious Mind social handles, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, and thank you, Pallavi, for bringing us here. So here we go, the creativity and beauty in mathematics, chapter 3, led by one and only Miss Wahi and Miss Sapna Shah. So welcome to you all. Math is about connections and communicating, whether with numbers, shapes, or diagrams. So let's go for it. Miss Wahi, over to you. Thank you.
Okay, so the question that comes up is how is math? There was a statement that was mentioned that math, there's creativity and beauty in math. So if we have to open this saying, how is math used in beauty, or how is it related to creativity? Any thoughts or anything that comes into your mind? A quick, anybody?
It's not about being right or wrong.
It is.
Miss, may I?
Yes, please.
So I'm connecting it to the real life situation, like when we are preparing cosmetics, the chemicals or the ingredients that are put into making a particular product has to be weighed, 15% or 15 grams of this and 20 grams of that. So, math is used in creating beauty products.
Okay, that's interesting. I mean, none of us could make that relationship.
Yeah. Can I come in? Hello?
Yes.
I think when it comes to math used in beauty, I would think about nature, where all we see is patterns. We see patterns in the rainbow. We see patterns even on the bark of a tree. We see patterns in nature, and that's how we can connect math to beauty. I can just think of nature and its patterns.
Wow. I was also going to say the same thing. And in fact, in all of these, whether it's a pineapple, whether it's the seashell and all, it's the Fibonacci series, which is there in nature and which makes it, that this thing. Also, the beauty where we talk about, the female beauty. So the most beautiful woman in the world is Mona Lisa, or now it's Amber Heard and all that. So they have actually done, a facial symmetry. So they've divided this thing, and there's a certain ratio. There's a certain ratio which the closer you are to that ratio, the more beautiful you are perceived. So it is math.
It's called the golden ratio.
Yeah.
Golden ratio, yeah.
It was mentioned in Super 30 by Hrithik Roshan as well.
Yes.
It's also there in that movie, that book, Da Vinci Code. I think Leonardo da Vinci discovered it, right? The ratio between the navel to the forehead and navel to the this is in that ratio.
Yes.
I don't know, the human body is in that ratio.
So that was interesting. And as you all mentioned that you see math in the environment, in the nature. So we have put down some pictures from nature. What we are going to do is, let's see if we can identify the concepts that you see in these pictures. It's all not pattern. There are other things also.
Data handling, the first picture.
Okay, yes, data handling.
There is some symmetry.
Symmetry.
Symmetry, yes. Symmetry
Shape.
is there.
Shapes
Shape
is
is there.
Is it decimal?
It's also the number pattern. The Fibonacci series is there in some of these.
You can say lines and angles. You can say lines and
Very good.
angles.
Lines and angles. Yes, yes. You can see lines and angles in these two images. Yes, so this was something you do not need to go anywhere. It's there around us in the environment. And most of us who are working in an IB school would realize that you need to get the children to be able to transfer. Yes, you need to get them to understand the concept and then immediately transfer it to real life situations. So you could move either ways. So we gave you the mathematical problem, and those who have started reading chapter 4 will be exposed to more of this. But what we would have liked you to do is pose a question for the problem. You need to go from real world to mathematical world, perform a calculation, and finally go from the model to the real world. And these problems were shared with all of you. Was anyone was able to do the task? If they could just share it with us. How would you have posed a question for the problem to make it interesting for our learners? How would you go from the real world? Where would you have identified that it was a real world connection to a mathematical world, performed the calculation, and then from that model, go to the real world? So this is how many to cover the big square. What would your question be?
It could be I'm making a new house and I need to cover the floor with tiles. So I have this one small tile. So how many will I need to cover my floor?
Okay, that's very interesting. How would you then go from the real world? So your question was a real world connection that was made, and the children could relate to that. How would you then go? How would you ensure that the children are all performing different kinds of calculation? How would you encourage that?
So first in the real this thing, and this something like this I had, when we were doing area and perimeter in grade 4. So we had done it. I had, the chairs that they sit on, I had cut out squares and I had cut out circles. And I told them, see how many you need. How many, so 2 groups were using square shapes and 2 groups were using circles. And by doing it, they figured out that when I use the square, I'm able to cover the entire surface area of the chair and the circle is leaving gaps. Then it was, so if I have to go back to the math modeling, I would say, if it is a bigger shape, or if it is a, if I'm making a house, I'm not actually going to take tiles and lay them out and count them. That would not be practical and it would not maybe be possible. How can I do it? So, repeated addition. Then they only, some of them, they concluded or inferred that one row has 4, and if I do one column, it has maybe 6. If I repeat it, it's 4 into 6, and that's how so that's then going back to this thing. Is that right, Nisha?
The thing is, you're not hoping that all children are looking at for one answer. You are hoping that everybody is thinking of different ways to come to the conclusion. Okay. So here, when you are giving them a problem like this, you have to get the children to come up with their own ways of doing it. So probably one group would do repeated addition. The other group would do scaling down, or physically do the measurement of one
Yes.
tile and then measure the area of the place and then come up with the calculation. So you
Yes.
have to ensure that there are various ways to come to a conclusion, and math is all about that. There's no one right answer to come to what you are trying to figure out.
So
And
we're
that's
giving
what
them the opportunity to come up with their own strategies to the
Yes.
answer.
Yes.
So
Yes.
thinking,
You're not,
we're
yes,
encouraging
you're not
thinking.
skills.
correct. You're not giving them one way of doing it. There are many ways of reaching to the conclusion. Yes, I could add up, I could multiply, I could divide, and then come to the smaller answer. I could do various ways of doing it. Or I could physically have a child who is actually putting all the tiles to see how many is required, which is fair enough, because that child is there at that understanding, which is not wrong. And then we go back from the model to the real life. And here the model for the younger children could be a grid, a math grid, numbers 1 to 100. So you could use that without writing down the numbers. You could just give them the grid of 1 to 100, and you could do the same thing. So that also, that's a manipulative that the children can use. Even if you don't want to do so abstract as a room and how many tiles you want to do, you could even use the concept of the mathematical grid. So the same way you could look at different problems, and you could get the children to come up with using those questions. Pose a question, pose a problem, which is a real life problem, for the children to think and come up with answers. So the crux of the chapter 3 was that mathematics is visioned as beautiful, aesthetic, and creative. She focuses on the beauty of math. Jo Bola focuses on the beauty of math. Especially you see it around in nature, you see it in art. So you do have artists who have used the principle, symmetry, asymmetry, they have used the principle of it in math. And this is one of the Fibonacci sequence, which was explained in this chapter. So we move on to chapter 4, which is the importance of flexibility with numbers. And Sapna is going to take you through it.
Thank you, Ms. Wiley. So let us use the following strategy to discuss. Now here we are talking about compression. So what exactly you derive from the word compression when you have read the chapter? And we know when we learn math, we engage in brain process called compression. So let's see how you could come up with the word compression to text, text to self, text to world. Anybody here? And you have read the chapter 4. So let's look at it. Anyone?
So if I have to look, sorry, is anybody else saying it?
I was just saying that one.
Okay, so if it is text to text, I think the idea was very beautifully explained, that how mathematical helps us to be able to look at it at various ways. There's just not, it just expands our mind to so much thinking.
So maybe problem solving could be one of them. That's text to text.
Yes.
And when you look at text to self, you are thinking out of the box, different methods to reach out to the answer. As we said, there's no right or wrong way where you can reach out to the math answers. You have to look at it closely, minutely, and figure out And there are different various methods to reach out. That's text to self again. Now, when Ms. Mahi spoke about the real world, that's text to the world. So how even Ms. Sonia spoke about different patterns, Fibonacci sequence. So that's what is related to compression, how you compress yourself, how you come out with, and your brain is in that process. The process is very important over the product. So there are different methods, different ways, connected to nature, connected to real life, connected to your classroom, in and out. So that's what we are learning and what we are teaching. Teaching and learning is not going to stop, because there are different methods where you learn from children, even like the lattice method, the multiplication method, the addition method, division method, the breakup method, the tile method. So there are different ways. So that's what we have closely looked towards: text to text, text to self, text to world. Yes, Miss Vine. So we just thought about few things. When mathematicians read, they can. So let's discuss and put in our thoughts here. Since we are already with 6:52, so we can have a super flawless like discussions quickly through the chat box or through a small discussions. So first one is: when mathematicians read, they can ... Miss Vani, next slide. You can go. When mathematicians think, they can. So we all can think like a mathematician. And when mathematicians write, read, and think, they can. So let's
The chat
have
window
all
has
these
been
things in
popping
the
up.
chat box.
Yeah,
Yes.
the chat window has been popping up. Visualize the problem, make connections, collect data, analyze and make connections, sense of numbers, interpret the data, observe patterns. These are some of the inputs that we've got from the group.
Super.
Anything else coming up?
Articulate their thinking and understanding.
So you're looking when you use mathematics. Okay, so let's start with read. You are able to put information together and come up with a solution. You use mathematics to come up with the real life situation solution, or look at a problem. And I mean, even a word problem is looking for a solution, right? The way we put it, we are looking for solutions for it. What else?
You can apply that into a mathematical reasoning even. When mathematicians read, so you're applying your reasoning, why and how and what.
We are also reading the symbols, right? It conveys a message, it conveys a meaning, whether it's addition, subtraction, that symbol denotes something or it signifies something. If we move
Abstract drawings, abstract ideas. So how the mathematicians connect when they're reading abstract designs. Like somebody just said, Da Vinci connecting to the human. So that is a beautiful example for this. When a mathematician is reading, he's also doing reasoning and applying the same thing with that abstract idea which is being given to him. So when mathematicians write, what they can do.
So what are the students doing when they are writing math problems, or they're solving math sums? What is it that they can do?
Developing their creativity.
Okay, developing their creativity. What else?
Reading, comprehending, super.
Comprehending, yes. What else can a mathematician or a student do?
When a child is reading a word
problem.
Making connections.
Logical thinking.
Yes, they're reasoning out, they're logically understanding it. They're using the right vocabulary. When we are looking at the word problems, consciously as a teacher, we use all together the sum of. So we are using the precise vocabulary, the mathematical vocabulary.
Yeah, we call it keywords. The keywords in any problem.
Yes.
Yes.
Sometimes they try to estimate, don't you think? They try to analyze, they try to estimate. So even a small learner, a young learner, will try to analyze, to describe it, and just to make connections. So that's very, very important. Even a first grader would do that. And a fifth grader would even do that, but at a different level.
Yeah, Amrita is also sharing visualizing the word problem in mind, visualizing the numeric form of the word problem. Yeah, applying the formula, Neha. It's also becoming a problem solver. The personality is changing.
Right.
So there's a transformation.
There's a shift. Yes, there is a shift of thinking, of looking at the world, becoming objective, using more of mind, going with more logic, going with numbers. I think a lot of, this is my personal opinion, a lot of people with mathematical mindset, they're not very biased. They're very balanced personality.
Because they can logically reason out, they can understand, they weigh the pro and cons. See, weighing the pros and cons, you are somewhere using the mathematical concept.
So I think the leadership in the schools, they have to be very strong in math.
Not they find connections. They find connections.
Yeah.
However, they will dig it out and they will find connections. So can we go to the next, Ms. Vahi? So when mathematicians think. So what do they consider? Sorry, Ms. Vahi.
Solution oriented. Logic.
Correct. Yes, they come up to conclusion. So there's nothing indecisive.
So they don't buy the story. They say, give the evidences. So this plus this is equal to this. Simple.
Super, that's principles. What mathematical principles they're following at.
So we have all realized the importance of it, we have to consciously keep it in mind when we are enhancing maths. And I think what Jo Bolat really tried explaining through her chapters is that fear of mathematics has to be taken away from the child's life. It has to be made into such a fun oriented things which show them the use of it, that they are able to enjoy it and be able to use it in their daily life.
So just one example I would like to give for the younger ones when they're learning ones, tens, and hundreds. That could be the block method or the Dean's method when they learn to do it. And it really, really helps to understand the basic thing and connecting to tiles and connecting to the area, perimeter. They all come up with all beautiful exemplars and examples which they use it in their daily lives. So yes, here we are. And we here sum up with a good quote from Jo Bolat. So the brain researchers concluded that atomicity should be reached through understanding of numerical relations, achieved through thinking about number strategies. Delza et al. 2005. We do not need students to take a single method and practice it over and over again. Very important. That is not mathematics. It does not give students the knowledge of ideas, concepts, and relationships that make up expert Mathematics Performance by Joe Bowler. Ms. Wahi.
Every time a student makes a mistake in math, they grow a synapse. I think that was such a beautiful thing that was mentioned, that it's okay to make a mistake. The last thing that we would like to do, that though we have not added it in our slide, is any mathematical games that you can think of, please share it. So that could be a takeaway for the classroom. Like, I mean, if I have to think about top of the hat, Tangram is a brilliant game that you can encourage the children to play. Similar manner, if you can think of any math games that the children can use, and if you can put the age group, it will be a quick takeaway for the teachers so that they can take it into their classroom.
Yeah, Ludo for early years.
Wow.
Monopoly, the banking. These are very good games.
Chess is one of the games.
Yeah. So before we end and before everybody starts pouring in their inputs, the next week's session is taken by Anupama, who's not here, and Namita. Namita, you are here, right?
Yes.
You know that?
Yes.
So,
yes.
So
when are we going to do it?
Yeah, collaborate next week, same time.
Friday. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just collaborate with Anupama, and
Yes.
the same flow. The flow remains the same for the workshop. The way both these able leaders have taken us through.
Yes,
and,
sure.
Just send email the PPT. I'll speak to you over the phone.
Right. All right.
Lovely.
Thanks.
Yeah. So Nisha and Sapna, anything else?
Yes, thank you. And I just wanted to ask was anybody able to use any strategies? I did see Sonia has started a YouTube.
Yes.
So Sonia, could you talk about it and share it with all of us so that we are aware of it?
So I've been thinking about it for some time. The same like with my blog, it's just what I do in my classroom. So in my class, for me, the main thing is the fear around math, which is there. I just want to take it away. You know, children come with that. Even now, the new session has started. I've seen children math, you know. So I was these quick Vedic math tricks and all. So I said, I do it in my class of 20. Why not do it, you know, for a class of infinity, in a sense, you know, accessible to anyone. So it's just those simple things. The heart of my this thing is how to make math easy. So the name is Make Math Magical. You know, and like Nisha, like you were saying, it's just about, you know, when we are able to apply it to a real life, because math is a subject you cannot get away from. Whether you study it or not, आपको percentage अपना tax का calculate करना है, आप shopping कर रहे हो, आपको percentage discount पता करना है. You know, for wherever you go, you need to measure at least roughly. Like one of my videos was talking about how you get change back from the shopkeeper, and I used to, you know, a little bit struggle with that. So ठीक है, कैलकुलेटर है, सब कुछ है, बट आप क्या ऐड और सब्ट्रैक्ट करोगे, क्या मल्टीप्लाई करोगे, वो तो आपको डिसाइड करना है ना. So for that, if that, you know, and it's more of this thing of confidence. If you, so some children also feel math is difficult. If I do it in a difficult way, my teacher will get impressed. I am sorry. You have to find the easiest, simplest way of doing this thing, and it will be there. So that was my entire idea of this thing. Just summer vacation tha, so I said, chalo, make use of
Great
that time.
Great.
So I'll keep sharing, and you know, actually, honestly, some of these things I learned from my students in class. So exactly this, I have one strategy of doing things. There are 20 children in the class. They come up with, you know, I learn one new strategy, I think, every year. जो मैंने सोचा, and children feel very happy कि अच्छा ma'am is learning something from us. But I say, see, the day you stop learning, you die. It's as simple as that. So as
Sonia,
long as
that is the reason we are here, right? We keep learning from each other.
Learning. Yes.
Lifelong learners. So
and
thank you so much. It was really
thanks for bringing us all and keeping us all together.
No, it's your agency. This is your community. I am nobody. As I keep saying this for the last 2 years, I am nobody. This is your initiative. This is your platform. No, you all are so able, and you all come with such speciality that even if we learn from everybody, I think we will be an extraordinary person by ourselves by learning from all of you. So thank you so much for taking out this time. Thank you, Sapna. Thank you, Nisha. Thank you so much. This was really good. This was since the children are in my school, we haven't really started with our session right now. Children will start this, and I'm a person who's really afraid of math. So thank you. It's putting me at a comfort level. I trust my shopkeepers to give